say, "Oh, thank you for your reproof, and I'm so sorry that I did what I did, and I'm so glad that you're helping me religiously grow from this, and you've given me so much to think about, and oh, what do you think I should do here?" Well, I don't roll that way. I'm going to say the truth as I perceive it. And so if I think the rabbi's wrong, I'm going to say, "Look, I think you're wrong." And I have a much more ferocious commitment to reporting the truth about public affairs than almost any Orthodox rabbi will allow. So I've created an exciting but very painful life for myself because I'm equally committed to trying to write the truth as I see it and belong to an Orthodox community, and the two are not compatible.
So who's going to win? Who?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's why people should keep tuning into my blog.
Why do you need a community to be a part of? If your faith can be your faith, and you can be Orthodox and kosher and read the Hebrew Bible and get all that you need from it, why do you need a rabbi? Why do you need a congregation and to be a part of a temple?
Because left to my own devices, I tend to isolate myself. And I badly need the social communal functions that a synagogue brings. I need to be with other people. I need classes and prayer sessions and all and most of the good people I know are Orthodox Jews, and so I want to be with the people I love.
Did you know Irv Rubin?
I knew of him.
Yeah, I knew him. He had been on my show many times, called mostly as a caller, and occasionally I'd see him as a guest on other people's shows. And well, there's no reason to talk too much about him since you didn't really know him and you didn't follow his story. And
yeah, I followed a little bit. I think he's a nutter, and I think he was repellent, and I think all those who do criminal violence, whether they're Jewish or non-Jewish, are repellent.
So you never think there's a time to? I mean, I'm. This seems like an odd juxtaposition here because I'm certainly not condoning what Irv Rubin was found guilty of doing, but you don't think there's ever a time to take up arms?
Oh yeah, there is a time for taking up arms, but not in a beautiful society like the United States of America.
So you're not a pacifist, is what I really was the question.
Oh God, no, I'm not a pacifist, but I don't think there's any reason to take up arms and commit criminal acts of violence in the United States or pretty much anywhere in the Western world.
Do you miss Australia?
A little bit. I just rented a bunch of movies from Australia. But, I mean, nothing too significant. I want to make it big in Los Angeles. Seems like, this is the place where you come to make it big.
Well, you can't make it big in Los Angeles if you want to live in Jerusalem.
Really? You sure?
Who's done that?
Mel Gibson?
I don't think so. Let's talk about Mel Gibson for a minute, since you mentioned him. Because I know... Well, I'll get into why I know this would be an interesting line of questioning. Did you first of all see The Passion of the Christ?
I did.
And were you moved by it?
Yeah, I was moved to get away. It was like, I'm not into torture porn.
And you didn't think it was a good film?
No.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either because I don't really want to see someone being beaten for an hour and a half, and I certainly... the idea that watching a 21st century rendition of a historical tale certainly wouldn't galvanize my faith. That's the weird part about the Christians who were so moved by that film is strange to me.
Well, Christianity is based on human sacrifice and reenacting a cannibalistic ritual of eating the flesh and drinking the blood. So that's why, from my perspective, Christianity has such a strong pagan element that I think in many ways there's more in common with Hellenic mystery religion and pagan cult religions than Judaism. So yeah, it's definitely not my thing.
What do you think of Mel Gibson as a person? You've heard the stories, obviously, about his upbringing and his father and the statements that his father's made. And we know what he said during his arrest for DUI. What do you make of
I
all that?
I love almost all the movies he's directed, and I love him as an actor. And I'm proud as a fellow Australian that he's, succeeded so well. And I think the guy hates Jews.
Just that simple.
Yeah.
Do you still have a lot of friends and family in Australia?
I have some friends who I'd see on occasion, if at all, and all my family is in Australia.
Mm-hmm. And are you in touch with them all? I mean, you made it sound like you and your father have a contentious relationship, and I guess is your mom still alive?
My mother died of cancer when I was 4, but my father remarried soon afterwards, and so...
And you hate your stepmother?
No. I'm in frequent contact with my stepmother. I have probably 20 times more communication with her than anyone else in the family.
Wow, that's interesting.
She's the most dedicated emailer, so I email her almost every day.
How does she feel about you?
She just wants me to be happy. It's like, oh, Luke, just... settle down and do the right thing and, get married and just be happy and don't always be such, the tortured one.
Is that going to happen, you think?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I just went back to therapy today after like a 5-year layoff, so maybe I'll work through some issues. And thanks to this radio show, I'll meet my future wife. Well, you can dance at my wedding.
I have I would be honored. I have this suspicion that women probably try to rescue you. You seem like that kind of guy that is very needy and also very. Am I right? Am I on the right track?
Yeah. You're right. I remember this girl. She brought me this book called The Givers and the Takers, and it wasn't because she thought I gave too much.
You're also very interested in self-help, obviously.
Yes.
What have you read that had other than the Bible, than the Hebrew Bible, which I know you appreciate instead of me saying the Old Testament?
Yes.
What other than the Hebrew Bible has given you solace, given you the self-help you're looking for?
I think the best book I've read outside of the Bible is Man's Search for Meaning, which was written by a psychiatrist who went through the Holocaust. And it's a very small, easy-to-read book, and it says that the central question in a person's life is locating what brings them meaning, what gives them meaning. Mm-hmm. And so it advocated, looking for what brings you meaning in life and to pursue that, and that no matter how difficult things get, if you can find the meaning in what you're going through, then you can make it.
Do you accept the possibility that your chronic fatigue syndrome is mental? It's what's it called when you it's
psychosomatic.
Thank you. Yes.
I guess it's a theoretical perspective, but as someone who's been so active all his life at every opportunity, I don't think that there's the slightest chance that has been true for me. I mean, I was a marathoner. I've always lived life to the fullest and extended myself to the absolute limits of my possibilities, even through illness. So, I experienced what happened one morning when I woke up there in February 1988 and felt like a truck had run over me. And so even over the last 20 years, despite my illness, I've still accomplished a great deal, and I know how I push myself to the absolute limits of my endurance on a regular basis to try to be a good Jew and to make the best blog post that I can. Do
you remember Dr. David Viscott?
Yes.
He used to help people. He was a radio psychiatrist on the same radio station that Dennis Prager, who you mentioned earlier, that was had a profound influence on you. It's funny because Dr. David Viscott had a profound influence on me. And I met him on a couple of occasions. In fact, I talked to him just a couple days before he died and had a very, very long and bizarre conversation with him, which, if you're interested, I'd be happy to tell you about it another time. But he used to help people with panic attacks. And the first question he would ask people who had panic attacks is, when did it start? And just like you with your chronic fatigue syndrome, they would be able to identify the day that it started. They